champagne or rum, achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne.
William, we're here again. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing
I've
well.
got Michael
And
here as
you?
well. I've got Michael here as well. I'm here. I'm here. I guess
Mhm.
it's a symptom of the work that has to be done. The way I look at it, people don't realize you have to work at what you need and what you want, right? We were here yesterday on Africa Business Talks. Now
Yeah.
we're here on No Human is Useless live. That's my YouTube channel to do. Anyway, welcome everyone. Of course, the usual. If you're here, drop us a comment. We will know you're here otherwise. And we'd love to welcome you properly. Liana, welcome. All the way from Minnesota. I always think I pronounce American places wrong, but I try my best, right? If I do, don't laugh at me. Yeah, you can laugh, it's fine. I can't hear you, right? I see you as well, Linda. All the way in Canada. Glad you're here. William, I'm not going to welcome you because you're on stage. Oh, Cyrus is here as well. So now, look, of course, it's a big topic today, and I guess I'm doing my bit to help William on his cause. Yeah. In case you don't know, you see that flyer behind William's head? No human is useless. That's what we're here for. But I guess William is on a mission to support Africa's youth, young people, and children with this No Human is Useless program. So this is partly talking about the issues that young people face in Africa and looking at some solutions. But of course, at the heart of all of this, I hope we can support William on this mission. That's what I always hope. William, talk to our friends. Say hello. Say hello to them.
Hello, everyone. We are back again. And my name is William Planche from Ghana, West Africa, and the founder of No Human is Useless, which was actually found because of my journey and what I've been through with depression and being looked down on and all of that. So realizing that people my age, people like me who are in Ghana and all over the world are going through same stuff that I went through. Some of them end up committing suicide because of the struggles and then depression they face. Some too do not get to. But then I have been able to overcome it and then create something good for myself and then people around me. Imagine somebody living in the forest would come back and then be a 9 times bestseller, will be featured on a Times Square billboard, will have an NGO like this and go to the UK for an international award. It looked impossible, but then it happened. All right. So I'm just trying to use my story to help the youth people who are like me, who are going through stuff and feel that that is the end of their life, overcome it, and also be like, because if I've been able to do it, they can also do it. I'm not a superhuman. We are all humans. So once I've been able to do it, they can also do it. So that's what I'm preaching. And so far, so good. With right people around me, like Annie, Michael, we are still pushing it.
We do see you, Cyrus. So, William, when you call yourself Vino Torino, what do you expect to happen, right? People are looking and go, I don't know. Anyway, welcome, everyone. I think depression. I guess I tend to look at it under mental health issues, mental wellness issues. Is the way I described it. It's more common than we might realize. I guess maybe let's look at what are some of the causes. It's not just one cause, right? I suppose for any of my friends on stage, in the studio, please consider what you want to share with us in terms of your understanding of what causes depression. Depression is obviously a specific disorder, if you look at it that way. I'm a psychologist, so we're made to learn all of these different illnesses under DSM-6, DSM-7. That's the psychological illnesses sort of classifications. It's a manual for clinical psychs. So I guess how do people get to depression, and what does it look like? Yeah, that'd be my question. Excellent. I'll let my friends ponder for a second, and then hopefully someone's going to say, okay, I'll tell you what I think, and then let's go from there. Yeah. Okay. In which case, if no one's dying to speak first, William, share with us. Share your story with us.
I was almost ready.
Hey, Cyrus.
So you want
I think
to start the
Cyrus
question?
wants to.
Yeah. So tell us about what you know about depression. Of course, most of us won't know in detail because everyone's situation is different. So just give us your take, and then that was
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity, and William, thank you so much for doing what you are doing, and thanks for being you. You never try to be someone else, and that's what I like about you. Same as Annie and Michael and many other people I know on LinkedIn. In terms of the root cause of the depression, even the greatest experts in the field fail to understand it fully, and otherwise human beings would have found solutions for it, like clear-cut solutions for it by now. We only use strategies. They're not solutions. And so normally when a person tries to control the outcomes and control the circumstances, and they can't, and as the nature of the control tells us, it's not always possible. They find themselves in a state that we call depression. So when you try to control the outcome and you can't, the outcome is, I don't want my cat to die, but beings die. So when someone's cat dies or dogs dies, or even more important than that, family, friends, when they die, people go into this state of depression. And when you get stuck in the past, that is depression, right? And you're not happy with the outcome, some sort of outcome. It could be death, could be failure, could be anything. That is depression. When you try to control the outcome of something that hasn't happened yet, that's anxiety. That causes you anxiety. Something that hasn't happened yet. So when you try to control the future, that's anxiety. When you try to control the past or wipe the past off and you can't, that's depression. I mean, that's my view on it. Again, I'm only human. I could be right, could be wrong. I'm more often than not, I am wrong. And that's how learning happens. That's the way I see depression and anxiety and what causes it. And we all go through it, different levels of it. And whoever says only one group of people never go through difficulty in life, and they are the liars. And they have the biggest problem of all, they lie.
So true. Of course, I like that, Cyrus. I think not feeling in control, and of course getting into situations and outcomes that we don't necessarily want. Some that cause us pain, but maybe some that cause us incredible trauma. I guess depression, I guess, to me is that feeling of hopelessness, really. And while it sounds like I just feel down for a bit, it's more than that. It is debilitating. That means it stops you doing the things that you might want to do. It stops you doing the things that you might have to do. So when I hear people from depression is that inability to live life as life was. And also, I guess, looking forward and seeing just hopelessness, seeing no hope, seeing that, believing that you haven't got to put a reason to be and you can't be. It's a serious condition. Thankfully, we can recover. Thankfully, we can move forward. Many successful people do move forward past depression. And guess depression is obviously it's not alone. Obviously, things like anxiety, can also creep with people. But I think depression has a unique place in just taking out the energy, taking out someone's energy, someone's belief in anything. It's all of that. So the point I suppose is that depression is a thing that is prevalent. It's common in Africa, but we're very good, William, as we well know. I'm sure. I say William, all of us on stage, and we well know. You don't want to talk about your depression. Put it hide it away quietly. Don't talk about it. Otherwise, they might think different of you. But I'm sure we'll come to that part in good time, right? William, so we haven't mentioned your fundraising yet. So your fundraiser that ends in 3 days, right? My friends who are here,
yeah,
right? You tell them. Why am I telling them? I always say what I think, and then what I think is usually wrong, as Sarah says. So it's all right. You tell them.
So first off, I just want to commend Cyrus for what he said. I totally agree with him, and there is no solution. There is no solution to depression. It's just strategies. And I believe that depression is you worrying about something that you can't do anything about, you can't change, which is in the past. That is depression. Anxiety is when you're worried about the future. Am I going to be okay? Is this going to work? And the future is not for you to determine. All right. So you have to leave it for those in charge to determine what's going to happen. Am I audible? So the one strategy is you living in the present. The future for it to resurface. And I read an article last week about a man called Gregory in Pennsylvania University, and he was a head of mental health in the school. He died, and guess what killed him? He committed suicide. And per the investigations, his mother was saying that he was always complaining about how tedious his work was, and he not being able to see his family, his wife and his kids for a period of time. And so he took his life. So one would say somebody who is at the forefront of depression, who is supposed to prevent people from taking their lives, rather committed suicide. Depression killed him. So people up there don't even have the solution. And like Cyrus said, it's just strategies that we use, and depression is always going to come, and it comes in different forms. Financially, if you're able to overcome it, it's going to come in another way, maybe in your relationship, in something else, in your workplaces, and all of that. So you having the strategy, you would worry about the future, but you live in the present and enjoy the moment is one way to overcome it. All right. And so back to the conference. Reason why we're doing this is many of our youth are going through these situations, and they end up doing so many stuff in an auditorium, both online and then in person, and share real life stories of people who have gone through a lot, gone through struggles, pain, as they are also witnessing, so that they get to know that it is not only them, they are not just alone. People are also going through that and turning that into purpose. And so that's why we are doing this, and we have just 3 days to end this campaign. That was going to help us facilitate this whole program to help people recover from depression. And so back to you.
I said it's such a big topic, but it's a mixed topic as well. Lisa, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad Lisa is here. So we did our menopause, your metamorphosis live yesterday. So that's Lisa's speciality. People in menopause. I'm told she's going to be doing the next month of events is going to be on men's menopause. Yeah, Michael, I expect you to be there. Of course, Cyrus and William as well. Otherwise, don't leave me talking about menopause alone, please. So Lisa and I did discover something today, which might be important for anyone here listening. It looks like LinkedIn is now only giving 30 minutes of your live event recording, which is rather weird, right? Because one of the benefits of going from LinkedIn audio to LinkedIn live is that there was replays. But now it looks like you're not getting the full replays on LinkedIn anymore. But there's good news, that as bad as that sounds, my friends, there's good news, right? The good news is you can still watch the
Mhm.
replays on YouTube. Yay. You still can, right? So that's probably going to be the place that we send you if you want to watch replays. I did too many events to post enough replays, but so when I post replays, I will learn to send people to a place where they can watch the full recording, not just 30 minutes at the end. Have I seen 30 minutes at the beginning? I'm not sure. But 30 minutes at the end, I've seen more than once. This only started a couple of days ago. So do look out for your recordings. Maybe you can choose which 30 minutes LinkedIn has available on your profile. Because you can edit and trim videos or recordings on LinkedIn. So we'll soon find out, right? If you know more, do come and share with us. Michael, you're being too quiet. Give me a second. Dr. Yvonne, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Now, I am doing the right things, Dr. Yvonne. I've taken my herbs tea for the last 3 days in a row. My son thinks something of it, right? But I'm taking it. Let me see the benefits. Have I seen some benefits? Maybe, maybe. Dr. Yvonne is she's a herbalist. Lisa, Dr. Yvonne is a herbalist. You two speak the same language, and I'm looking forward to getting healthier. I'm also looking forward to bringing Dr. Yvonne to events in good time because I think this woman has a lot of genius to share with us, and it'd be good to for you to get to know her and know about some of the things that she knows. Henry, welcome. I see you. So I'm glad you're here. Professor Rotimi said, "Great discussion. Thanks, William." So I imagine that's one of your friends, William. If you want a link to join the studio, please do.
Yes,
Michelle,
I met him. I,
cool.
I met I met Professor Rotimi at the Caribbean Global Awards. He's an amazing person, and he's from Nigeria, but he's based in the
Oh,
UK. Yes.
excellent. Well, as I say, I'll send him the link to join us. I'll try and work out how to do that without disrupting my flow too much. Michelle B, thank you for being here as always. So glad you're here. My friends, if you do want to support William's fundraising, please post a link in the comments, William, so people can they can copy and paste the link. Otherwise, they can go to the event page, right? That's part of our mission. Right, Michael, you've been too quiet. I never like when Michael's quiet because it means he's thinking. Michael, what's your take on depression? Do you know anything about it? Do you think
Um,
anything about it?
yes, I am thinking something about it, but this
Share
is
with us,
something that
please.
um, William reminded me about, and he talked to there was an actor, a very famous one, um, Robin Williams, um, the gentleman who, if I remember correctly, um, he was in a movie wherein the very start of the movie he goes, "Good morning, Vietnam." And he's a DJ and he starts his comedy act and starts talking and really exploding on the screen. That I remember very well. but he was also the kind of gentleman who was particularly funny. And I think you guys recall the movie Mrs. Doubtfire. He was hilarious in that. Um, but no one would actually think that he suffered from depression. It's quite amazing that this gentleman actually committed suicide and killed himself. The other thing is also when you actually start thinking about, I go down this rabbit hole and I start thinking about what about the other people that I know of? What about Prince, the singer, who, yeah, he died of an overdose, but why was he taking drugs to begin with? This is a gentleman who had everything, everything, but he suffered from depression. People that suffer from depression have a tendency of abusing drugs, and when they abuse drugs, they end up dying. Same thing with Michael Jackson. Why did he need drugs in order to perform? Couldn't he perform without them? Why did he need the doctor to monitor him? Because he was overdosing on drugs to allow him to sleep. But the doctor misdiagnosed and he died essentially. But Michael didn't need to be taking those drugs. He could do without them. But nobody actually showed him how to do that. Nobody actually, it seems like nobody cared for these people enough to help them alleviate these tendencies that will end up killing them. Fantastic people, people we idolize. And this is what William is highlighting. There are some great human beings out there who are going through significant depression. And just like him, William, they need a way out. But they need friends, they need people, collaborations to point out. William somehow, some way got out of it, and he's trying to help out students, brilliant minds, get out of their depression. And these minds are so brilliant that they don't know what to do with themselves after you know, after their imagination, thinking they're going to be great, thinking they're going to be able to do this and so on and so forth. But then they come up with all these hurdles, which we in society, as adults, are presenting them with hurdles that are unnecessary. The government is actually doing that unnecessarily. I could go into why these things are happening that the government are doing, but there's no need to do that. There is certainly a need for other people who have seen these students suffer and also seen these students take their own lives because of a mental illness or because they don't have alternatives, because they believe they have been sold a bill of goods that have gone rotten, and they cannot sustain themselves as a result because of shame that they feel about being in the position that they're in. Shame that is actually made even more poignant because they're talking to their peers and they're collaborating with their peers, but their peers don't understand that they're going through this, and they don't talk to their peers and let them know, hey, I'm going through a depression. And their peers simply assume that they're not, and their peers actually instigate it because they behave as if the world is all right, and yet it isn't. And you heard what William said earlier. If you had been in one of his earlier presentations, as he indicated, his friends would be discussing, and then they'll be telling him, why, how is it that you haven't gotten your life together, William? And it's like a rebuke. Why would you rebuke someone who is literally struggling, who is in a position, who has no control over his own future because of situations that are just out of his control? Haven't you been there? Haven't you been in those shoes? And if you have not, then you're totally insensitive. And that's where William was at. Africans can be extremely insensitive. Extreme. I mean, good God, really bad. They don't realize it because they think that everybody goes through it and everybody will bounce back even after being through it because they did it themselves. No, it's not necessarily true. There are some people who are highly sensitive, especially children who are autistic. And I do not know how many autistic children there are in Africa because they don't make records. But autistic children are extremely emotionally sensitive to very specific things. And they have their needs. And they are continuously and repetitively reminded and being rejected in Africa. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of autistic children they just not have been identified. And these are probably the ones that are committing suicides more often than not. So Africans should stop having the fear of talking about these things that cause depression and anxiety in the people who they love, and even in the people who are young and they will depend on in the future to resolve the issues that we're all facing. Because what we're currently doing is effectively ostracizing them. It's like taking one of those handicapped children and tying them to a tree. That's ostracization. Why would you tie them to a tree instead of helping them? Chaining them up, not just tying them, chain them up to a tree. Chains, really? Anyway, that's where I'm at, and
Yeah.
it's a,
Yeah.
it's my current conversation can drive you into depression. What we're actually talking about right
Yeah.
now.
No, it's true. It's true. Like it's a huge problem. If I hadn't grown up seeing people tied to trees, Michael, William, and Christian, I probably won't believe you. I've seen it with my own eyes, and they'll tell you it's for their safety, it's for our safety. Otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen. Just let someone be and get the help they need. It's much more important, than it's not just punishment. It's dehumanizing people who are people with disabilities, people with mental illnesses. So I hear you loud and clear, and you say many good things, my friend. It is no, it's not. Depression is not an illness of the poor necessarily. Alas, people who haven't found a place in life, people who haven't got you know security, safety, shelter, food. It's easier for them to see the world as hopeless. But I thank you for pointing out this, the celebrities who are who suffer in silence as well. That's the thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So they say, Robbie
absolutely.
Williams, a comedian. Who would have known? Who would have known? Who would have known?
That was the most
You know.
shocking part of it all, is that
Mm,
particular gentleman who I've seen all the time, it's like, yeah, nobody actually knew. All of a sudden he's dead,
mm,
and you're like, what the heck happened? Then to find out he
mm,
had depression. I'm like, really? A comedian? Depressed?
mm,
I,
yeah.
it's like juxtaposed. You get kind of like,
I tell you,
this guy
it's one of the
was.
weirdisms of our lives. It's a weirdism, Mark. It's a proper weirdism, right?
I wouldn't,
Um,
and I wouldn't be surprised if you find out in his background that he's actually autistic and he's
mm,
actually getting out of, he's communicating through comedy
mm.
in order to, what do you call it, scrub the fact that he's actually autistic.
Yeah, no,
And
so
William
I,
has come out of this, and he's said to
mm,
himself, he wants to go fast. William wants to go fast.
mm,
But then when he went alone, he didn't go far.
Mm.
But now William understands that if I want to go far, I have to go together.
Yeah.
He's pulling in
Excellent.
those ones.
It's working, William. It's working. It's work. Look, it's true. Look, when we started off, I said, people don't realize the work it takes to do that work, to go anywhere, as you're saying, Michael. And I don't realize the work it takes to build the friends we need to on LinkedIn, especially.
Hmm.
To get someone to listen, to get people to listen to you. You have to show up several times. This is our second event on this series so far. So Williams' event is in September, so you can well expect there will be a lot more events. And if you hear us saying and talking about the same thing twice over, please do understand. So not everyone here was here last week, for example. Not everyone here was here last night.
Hmm.
So do bear with us if you do hear us what sounds like repeat. Our videos will be repeats because I'm not gonna make a video every week, but to have a couple of videos to show you. So welcome, Sharon Rose. I will come back to your comment in a second. I think that's Christiana. Is that Christiana? I don't know. I don't know. Christiana's in studio, so who's that?
And imagine
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's
William is
Professor
trying
April.
to William is also trying to incorporate in this togetherness everybody that has the ability to funding power. Come with me
Yes,
by,
yes.
presenting your funds. We can go together. And
Well, that's an
it's a big
important
thing.
point, Michael. That's an important point. After that, William's donation, William's GoFundMe page.
GoFundMe. Hmm.
So that closes in 3 days. So if you can, and I'm not. Is it funds or is it willingness to help? You
Willingness to
know,
help,
uh,
willingness
and
to
then
carry, willingness
yes,
to share the burden.
truly,
We
truly.
all,
I don't
I mean,
know.
if I have a burden and I have a
Mm,
load and I want to really go far,
yeah,
I can take that load if I share it. I can
indeed.
go really far if I distribute the load and
Mm,
share it and we all go together. That will
yeah,
happen. And that is
yeah,
what William is emphasizing here, and he's trying to get this across to the LinkedIn folks who
indeed.
he's
Yeah,
approached you and you're helping him realize his
mm,
dream, realize
yeah,
his abilities. Not only you, but also Christina here has also joined
yeah.
us in order to be
And
able
and
to do
and,
that as well.
and you too, Michael. You're a big part. You're. So we're all doing a little bit to support William. Because, I guess I always see when people try to help, and we do what we do very well, which is say, "Oh, what an amazing thing you're doing! You crack on, crack on. I've got things to do. I'm busy," and then we turn our backs on them, right? Let's not do that. So, Professor Abraham, I'm just seeing you on my LinkedIn, not my StreamYard. So glad you're here. Thanks so much for joining us. So Henry says, anyone who loses their voice and thus the ability to talk meaningfully about their needs and fears with others is obviously in real danger as they tumble uncontrollably into depression. So that's a doctor speaking there. So take his word for it. And they said that is an important part of what gets us into that state where it becomes a problem. Of course, could Henry says, could the underlying reason for a growing burnout to depression to suicide epidemic be the new language, be the new our language Yay, I'm back again. William, you're here as well, of course, Christiana's here. I don't know what happened to you lot.
What
Um,
happened?
Load shedding, UK style, right?
Oh wow.
But that, it
I
went off.
thought that only happens in Ghana.
No,
Terrible.
no, no, no. It went off twice. So it went off, came back on literally seconds. But
Oh
everything goes
dear.
off. My internet goes off, and then it takes a couple of minutes to reboot my Wi-Fi, and then by the time it did that, it went off again. So I went to go and see my family downstairs. That's normally when you see us together, but when there's no internet, we're like, hello everyone, you still live here? See ya. You know. Anyway, unlike Ghana, William, here is moments. It's moments. You know, it goes and comes back in moments. You know, so in Nigeria, you know, it can go for a week. It can go for longer than that sometimes. You know, so sorry about that. But we lost Michael in the meantime. I loved his share. I truly loved his share. You know, he painted a picture of what the depression looks like for those that we suspect to see depression in. You know, but I think that hardship is what it is. Christiana, have you shared yet?
No, I was busy waiting for you to come back to life.
You wouldn't just sit there waiting for me, Christiana. You two will carry on chatting, right? You two, I know you can't press buttons, but you can carry on chatting.
I was trying to say something, but naturally your screen is frozen. I had to reboot my phone.
Okay. I don't know how me not being here affects anyone, because I don't know. I'm not here to see it, right? So I don't know. I've never been in a room where the host is falling off. But Christiana, share with us. Welcome on stage. Share with us.
Hi, Bro. How you doing?
Yay.
It's been a while since I saw your face.
Better for seeing you, Christiana. Go and share with us.
Thank you. Share. So, first of all, what you're doing is amazing. I'm going to say that first. You and I had a conversation even before No Human is Useless conference thing took off into the air, William. Is it dropped off? Let me begin with what the topic is of today. The topic is, and forgive me, my phone phone keeps dropping off internet. So I've got William on this side and it's not on this side. So the topic for today, as we're discussing, is depression. Why do people choose to suffer in silence? I don't believe people make a conscious choice to suffer in silence, right? As somebody who worked in mental health for almost 5 years, at the top of the tree, there are cases I can tell you about and examples I can give you. But the one thing I really want to say today is, when it comes to depression, when it comes to mental health, we need to really emphasize what that looks like for each person. Because I heard parts of what Michael said, and you have people like Robin Williams, who's a huge famous star. When I was growing up, Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire, and all these films that he did were big. But yet behind closed doors, he was really struggling with mental health, struggling with depression, clinical depression, to the point he took his own life, right? And sadly, that is where, especially when it comes to men, let's think men and depression, right? There's a high level of men that experience depression and result in suicide. So here's the thing. We really have to start talking about and educating ourselves and educating, men on what that looks like practically. And the biggest thing, again, with me being a miscarriage and baby loss, I see that with men, how the loss translates into depression. It's the pain. So we are in a society where we try and push through pain. We try and be strong, when really inside of us, we are dying slowly. For some people, that's literally dying slowly. And I will pick on the point that Michael made, the fact that when these things are happening, we pick up vices. I like to call them vices. The vice looks like, you know, you go more into alcohol, or you bury your head into substance misuse generally, right? When you pick what you choose to soothe yourself. At first, it doesn't look like depression. It's that feeling. Let's not forget that as human beings, we have between 12,000 to 60,000 negative thoughts, right? In our minds, in our heads, that's kind of remunerating in our heads. It takes us to be really conscious to remain in a positive frame of state of mind. And so when life hits, and life hits us, as you know, whether it's that not passing your exams, or whether it is coming out of university, especially in Africa, coming out of university, being educated, but not having any job, any work, anything to go to, not feeling like you're worthy of something, right? And some have said to me, I feel worthless. When that feeling engulfs you, you don't even know when it begins. You don't know when it starts. But the signs are you not having the feeling to get out of your bed. People think it's when that happens, that's when it happens. No, it isn't. It is when you start to be forgetful. And that might seem normal to anyone. Oh, I forgot your name. I forgot. Those little details that we don't stop for a moment to acknowledge ourselves first, to acknowledge in ourselves first, let alone others acknowledging that in ourselves. The other thing is the people and where we find ourselves, the spaces we occupy, who we spend our time with, you know, can literally help us to overcome that depression, or it can steep us further into depression, right? So I say all of this to say, when it comes to this subject, I love what William is doing, because it's about the education and continuous emphasis on what depression looks like at the early stage, not the worst or the extreme stage. Because when people are, like William did, he had to leave completely and go into, find himself in the forest. That's at the worst stage. What does it look like at the beginning of your depression? Can you tell? Do we educate, you know, ourselves on what that truly looks like? So that for me is the first thing, is really important. And once we begin to do that, it means that we can ourselves really start to not diagnose, seek that help. But here's the issue. The issue is not going out to ask for help, because you might sound strange, or you might sound really weak, or you might sound silly, or you might just be feeling sorry for yourself. I've heard language such as, oh, pity party or self-pity. And that type of language isn't helpful. So it's really saying, now I'm aware of what's going on with me. Where do I go for help? Right? And for the most part, that help isn't always there. It doesn't come naturally. If we look at the systems, for you to even get support when it comes to, and I can speak for the UK, when it comes to getting support to really support you and your mental health services, they are somewhat overstretched. And so it becomes difficult, right? To be able to ask for that help, to be able to seek professional help, so to speak. So here's the thing. It's so important that we consciously start to look at exactly what depression looks like. You know, what does it look like on a daily basis? And for each person, it takes a different form, right? It really does. It could mean one person not being able to get out of bed. That's not a progressive depression. Or it could mean someone just not having the confidence, you know, not able to function properly at work, not able to focus. So again, your attention span goes, and it's having to think, is it depression or is it something else? And most of the times it is that you're going through a depression that you're not even aware. You're second guessing yourself. You're questioning yourself. Am I thinking this? Am I imagining this? For some, they become paranoid because they do not want to even appear as if that they have any issues. Depression itself is a mental health, issue that can be resolved. So where are we spending our time? Are we able to find resources that can help us out? Are we able to, find activities that we can get involved in to help us to network, to meet other like-minded people or other people, full stop? And that for me is the reason why I believe that people suffer in silence. They don't choose to suffer in silence, but it happens to them anyway, because at times they're not even able to know or to ascertain that they're going through depression until it's in its later stages. So there needs to be education on what early onset depression looks like, right? A whole list of things. Even before we talk about curing depression, we need to understand and know what that looks like. And it is the simplest things as your memory loss, forgetting things, simplest thing as you not being able to go to a function. You're withdrawn at times, or you're not sure of yourself, you lack confidence. So let's focus, not just focus, but let's begin to focus on the lower end of depression before it becomes this state. And also, Michael also made a point with Michael Jackson and the death. When you look at the common running thread through these celebrity deaths, I like to call it, is that it begins from somewhere. Michael Jackson's situation began when he had his freak accident life on stage, that then went into him having surgery, that then meant that he became dependent, on substance, albeit clinical, prescribed, diagnosed substance. So it was legal to begin with, but it began somewhere. It began when there was a change in his physical appearance that he became conscious of, but quite worried about. So that set about the depression, right? Now, had he had somebody to help him out with knowing how to handle his accident, and that's the other thing, is having someone to help you, educate you, knowing how to handle the things that lead to depression at the early stages, really helps those who end up having severe depression, let alone suicide, to be able to then not suffer in silence. I'm going to yield my mic there. Thank you so much, Annie and William.
Is all of that, Christiana. Thank you for sharing so beautifully. It is partly an issue of loss and pain, right? But I think a lot of it is people suffering in silence, and so you wonder what. It's not you wonder why that is. There's many reasons. Someone mentioned the shame, and I guess the way it could impact us. I guess the reality is many people are not as caring as we might be. So I'm looking at Josh's comment, Josh Owens' comment. I lose when I fall off stage. I lose all my comments, by the way, on StreamYard. So I've had to repost them from my LinkedIn. Josh says, "I don't believe too many people choose to suffer in silence, but I believe that too many are still choosing to ignore those that are suffering in silence. Unfortunately, ignoring silent suffering in the world is sometimes easier for some individuals than joining the ranks of the ones who seek and find." That's you, William. You're the one who's seeking and finding, my friend. So it is a realization, I suppose. We kind of always tell that someone's struggling, but sometimes we do get hints, we do get ideas. They give people, they tell us in their way things are not all right. It's whether we take that moment to stop and say, right, what is up? What's going on for you? You know, even asking that question, how are you? How you there? And you know, we just say fine, fine, and walk away, right? You know, I guess, you know, I think I've learned we need to really stop and say, no, no, really, how are you? You know, and try and get people to talk to us honestly, you know, to open up.
Mm.
You know, I mean, so how many of us will, you know, will happily share with everyone all our struggles? We don't. You know, we are, because people don't know our personal struggles. I'm broad enough to say that. You know, do you know I've got a toothache right now? Does it matter? No, not really. Toothache is going. I'm saying, right. You know, it's something like that where you know, people don't people don't really want to know half the time. See, there was one time, you know, I went to a restaurant and the waiter came and he said, "How's your food?" I started talking and he walked away. He walked away. He didn't care. He didn't even care to know. So that's a business thing, right? Just thinking our personal lives. How many people do we walk past every day? You all right? That's an English thing, by the way. How you doing? And the answer is always fine, great. And then we'll carry on walking, right? And now we must realize that's not always the case for most people. You know, it's whether we really care enough, you know, to want to be those people who do seek and find, as Josh says. I think, you know, that's important way of looking at it, Josh. Thank you so much. Who else? Sharon Rose made another interesting comment. So Sharon says, silence is a global problem. In the US, many children in upper middle class families who are covered up with generational expectations and patterning by affluent stroke overachieving emotional unavailable parents who are chasing external success. You know, they're the ones that kill the classrooms that's full of other children and themselves, right? So thank you for eliminating this problem to everyone, William. It's an important point. You know, again, this is the whole point of No Human is Useless movement. We can support children, we can hear them, we can see them, and we can give them hope. We can. I guess the next level is giving those children a way to discover their sense of purpose, right? So that's what ultimately removes the pain from their lives. I think, you know, when you have a sense of purpose, when you can see a reason for being, when you can see that you have hope, that you can be, you know, that loss of control we talked about earlier, it's not real. You know, it is a temporary, momentary thing. You know, as William did, we can push past those. We'll have to push past those. All of us push past those. So, you know, it's how do we tell our kids, you know, and next generation that there is hope. You know, you will make it. You'll be fine. So that's why I love William's message. Like, just get through one more day. Get through one more day. That's all you have to do. One more day. Tomorrow will bring something else. Tomorrow will bring opportunities. Tomorrow will bring some of the joy you're looking for. But if you don't get through today, you never see that joy, right? Look, my friends, if you're on my YouTube, please do the right thing. Like, follow, like, comment, and then subscribe, please. You know, so I do appreciate my YouTube friends. William, if I come back to you, let me play one of your videos. Let me play your video so people get a good idea of where you're coming from on this topic, right? No, that's me and me. Okay, here goes. Here goes. In a few seconds, so less than a minute. So here goes.
This is my story. Depression is real and it's high time we take it seriously. I don't blame those who take their lives when they go through it. I only wish they could find the strength to hold on just one more day. Because I've been there and I've lived it. And there was a point I felt my life had come to an end. Imagine being asked to leave your family home when you have no job and nowhere to go. Imagine facing joblessness after being promised a good future. Living in the forest, drinking from streams alongside animals, friends mocking you because of your current situation. But little did I know that all these challenges were leading me to finding my purpose. I overcame all these adversities not because I'm a special human, but because God gave me strength, And I also waited just one more day, and it worked out. I found my purpose. Too many people suffer in silence, feeling lost and without hope. Some don't make it through. But we believe in creating a safe space where young people and individuals can hear real life testimonies, connect with mental health professionals, and discover their inner strength. Now, this is why this September in Ghana, we are bringing the No Human is Useless annual conference to help individuals overcome depression, build emotional resilience, and find their true purpose. Join us.
No human is useless, I know. Through the darkness we still glow, rising up from what we've been, finding strength in where we've been. Hands got rough from earth so cold, learn to mend what's
Great video, William. Am I playing? Yeah, I'm playing my links here.
Are you ready?
I wonder why that came back on. So William, great video.
Broken home.
He's singing as well. Michelle says, throw a pill at
Thank you.
depression. You'll never know why they're depressed. Isn't that so true? Medication, no, but there's a place for medication
Don't
for the extreme, right? But I think, this is about talking. This is about belonging. It's about feeling part of and feeling, hope. Again, I'll say what talking therapists we need. And I think that's long and short of it. But there's more things we can do on a personal level, to give children hope. The middle night, we're going William's book, No Human is Useless, is there for a reason. And that's a message that we need our kids to learn. They're not useless, they're not hopeless, they're not doomed forever. When the situation they're in is not going to last forever, right? It's just not. I say that many of us were there. Yeah, and we need to communicate that to our kids somehow. That there is hope, even when it looks hopeless. There's hope. I tend to live with the simple mentality that my pain is my gain. And I'm here because of the pains I've suffered in life, the things I've experienced. I'm here because of what I've gone through to get to where we are today. StreamYard. Why StreamYard happening? Okay, that's on Facebook. That's fine. Look, my friends, in the comments, I've put the link to donate to William's GoFundMe page. It's Indiegogo. I don't know what that is, but I've done my bit. So if you're looking at it in the comments, please copy and paste it into your browser. Let me say quick, Michelle Ramos, I'm so glad you're watching on your TV. That cheers me up. So thank you for joining us, albeit remotely. Hopefully you're getting back to wellness slowly but surely. It hurts when to know you're in pain. Scott, I see you as well, Scott Stewart, the man in the mirror. Scott's writing this book that's about to be published. That's about to be, we're looking end of the summer, back into the summer, right? Scott's one of William's good friend. William introduced us, and Scott says, "Hello, William, my friend. Looking forward to seeing you in September and sharing the stage." So that tells you Scott's coming to be one of William's speakers at the conference. Thank you so much for being here, Scott. I've tried to invite you so many times, Scott. You haven't come along with you. Now you have. You made my day, Scott. Great to see you indeed. And so Professor Rotimi says, it takes a village to raise a child. We need a supportive mechanism for family and friends when in these valley moments. Indeed, it is that, right? It's when someone's down. We need to be there to support them. So William is that person, but he can't do it alone, my friend. William needs all of us to help him. And Christiana, you're one of those. So Christiana, are you coming to the conference? Christiana, come back. Don't disappear. Come back. Come back. I can't hear you, Christiana. Hopefully you come back in a minute. Cherry, thanks for being here. Thanks for giving us your time. I appreciate you all for spending your time with us. William's come back, so I'm not talking to myself. I know I could always talk, but William, we lost you for a second. Yeah, so our good friend to hear. Oh, Christiana's back as well. It's like buses with you two, right? You wait so long for one to turn up, then two turn up at once.
I am trying to keep quiet because your nephew won't give me peace. He's here.
Yeah. JJ, how are you
it's
doing?
Uncle Annie.
Has she been a horrible mom? How are you doing, JJ? Great to hear you.
It's half term, Uncle Annie.
Yeah, so you get to holidays. Same here, Christiana. So you get to play all day. You get to play and have fun.
Yes, something like that.
Does. Playing and having fun.
And
That's
drag
what
me
she
nuts.
does.
It's Uncle Annie.
Anyway, so are you coming to the conference, Christian?
We had this conversation, Annie. Mommy. You and I need to go to this conference.
You didn't give me an answer.
I did give an answer. Right? I was the one who said to you, let's go.
Oh, okay. Indeed. Okay. William, now you know, right? Now you know.
William and I had this conversation many months
yes.
ago, before it became a thing.
Yeah.
You know. But it's so good to see you, bro. Right? We definitely need to catch up.
Yeah. We need to plan.
I'm on the phone.
We need to plan properly, to make this work for everyone. So that's what William and I are doing. So we started, and the team and people who are interested in coming along and supporting and speaking at the event. There is, as William said, you can speak remotely as well. There's a huge screen. More than life-size screen, a giant screen where if you want to share your messages of inspiration with the audience. I mean, we talk about 1,000 people in the audience. 1,000 people in the audience, right? That's a big.
Yeah.
That's why, that's partly why I'm excited. The chance to influence so many kids all at once comes around, but once in a while, right? Once a minute, in Cristiano's words.
Yeah.
Yes, that's too good to miss. But look, so before we get there, my friends, Michelle, only JJ can call me Uncle Annie, apart from my nieces and my nephews. It makes me feel old, but it's fine. JJ's he's young, he's sweet, he's innocent, unlike his mother, who sat called me Uncle Annie, just make me feel like I'm a geriatric. But let's ignore that bit, right? So JJ, you call me Uncle anyway. You feel free. Right, my friends, please do contribute to William's fundraising if you can. So anything is valuable. Whether it's $1, I think the least you can donate is $5, right? I shared the link a minute ago. So if you're getting the link from the comments here, copy and paste it into your browser, and you'll go along to the page. So William is offering, I don't know what they're called. They're like rewards, right? I think you get to social media shout out as a, and then I think there's other things you can. Yes, so you can't spot that. You get bigger gifts, but to say no, today anything is better than anything we've extremely appreciated. And put in the comments, click this link to. I can't make it say at the top, right? To go to William's GoFundMe. Right. William, I suppose break down your story so we can understand how you got into this situation, if you don't mind.
I didn't hear that, Annie. Can you repeat that again, please?
Break down your story. Help us understand and help us to know your story. That way, it gives us a better idea of how depression can come along.
All right, then. Thank you. So basically, for those who know and for those who don't know about the story, it's all about growing up growing up in my country, where we've always been told that right after school, when you're complete, and you get to afford anything you want to buy. So most of the kids here grew up with that mindset. But for me, I completed school and there was no job, and that's where depression started with me. But it wasn't on a higher level. It was just something normal. But then I see my friends where I was better than in class. They were fortunate to having good jobs. They had bought their cars and they're living their life, and I'm the one lagging behind. And so when I see them, I felt so bad within, feeling so bad within, nobody to talk to, because the same society have also said that as a man you need to be strong. As a man, depression is a sign of weakness. It's for women. Leave that for women. But as a man, you need to keep on going and be strong. And so there's nobody to talk to, and they don't understand it. And a friend of mine who was living the life passed the comment to me when I was struggling that, hey, you better get a life because we are all moving. And that really broke me. So when it broke me, I decided to move away from everybody, because if I don't see them, I get to be okay. So I just moved in isolation to go live in a forest with a small family that I knew. And then no electricity, no good drinking water, living there. It was tough. It was tough. But then that is why I found clarity, in the forest, where they say the forest has no Wi-Fi, but that is where you get the best connection. And it's very true. It's very true, because in my times there, deep inside of me, I was feeling okay. There was so total calmness. There was joy within. And I wasn't even thinking of me not having a job. When I wake up in the morning, we go into the farms to get food stuff and all of that. And that, I was getting better. That's why I had my first business idea, the errand boy, which I was just sitting by under a tree, just praying, talking to myself. God, what's up? Can you tell me what is going on? How is my life going to be? I was just talking about the future of my life. Then I heard a whisper in my ear, a female voice called the errand boy. The errand boy. That's all I heard. Came back to the city, made somebody create a logo for me with my name, Mr. Planch, and I told her that, add the errand boy as my slogan. So errand boy, that's it. And I started sharing these flyers. And I was saying that, hey, if you're a busy scheduled person, and then you 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 want somebody to pick up your kids from school, you want somebody to do the groceries for you, I am here. I am the errand boy. Just call on me and I'm going to do that for you. Can you imagine, in just a week, I get a phone call from a judge saying, hey, William, I saw your logo. Can you help me pick my kids from school and do, because I'm so busy and this. And I sat in and started doing it. And I get more calls from high profile people in the community. High profile people, judges, lawyers, bankers, policemen, because I said I was an errand boy. And this errand boy came as a result of me living in an uncomfortable situation in the forest. I probably couldn't have had this idea when I was still in the city, trying to figure out how to get a job and all of that. So that's one benefit I had when I isolated myself in the forest. So fast forward, COVID came in, and my one day my grandmom said, William, you need to leave this house because I'm broke. And I don't have money to buy food. And I don't have money to buy food. Stuff outside the gates that, hey, we need to go. And that day I felt my life had come to an end, because I didn't have a stable job at that time. I didn't know where to go. And I had to go find this small wooden structure and keep all my stuff in there. And COVID, they said lockdown. We are not supposed to come out and all of that. So I wake up every morning crying, praying, and hungry, so hungry, because no food, like no job to give me money to get food and all of that. And it was very painful, and I felt my life had really come to an end for me. Everything got shattered, only for me to jump on LinkedIn and share a post about me in the forest and say that sometimes we need to go through uncomfortable situations to find the best things inside of us, which is hidden. And everybody has that thing. Every human being has that hidden talent inside of them. but it's just that we are not aware of it because of situations that we go through, and then we don't pay attention to it. And now when I shared that post with that picture of me in the forest, this white man from the US saw it and said, William, I think you have a beautiful story. Let me introduce you to this group in the United States so you can tell them your story. And I'm like, cool. So I shared my story with them, and they were on the verge. They had also lost hope because of COVID. About 50 businessmen and women in the US, they had also lost hope because of COVID, because they didn't know what to do with it. But then I gave them hope because of my journey. The same thing. That day I gave them a wake up call, and it was amazing. And that was the beginning of my journey. I was exposed to the Times Square billboard. These guys put me on the Times Square billboard, and then were helping me do stuff like connecting me with people and all of that. But I want to show you these marks again. And this is the mark that I produced here in Ghana. And I show them this mark. Now, this mark has, you don't see anything on it. I call it the invisible mark. And I said, every human being is like these marks. You know, when you're not aware of the beautiful things you have inside of you, you look black like these people feel you are worthless. You know, sometimes we need to go through struggles, and this hot water signifies struggles and pain that we all go through in life. All right, and when we go through these struggles, it doesn't mean we should end our life. It means it's a wake-up call for the beautiful things that are hidden inside of us to come out for the world to see. All right, so this is who we really are. Human beings are like this. When we go through depression, it means that there's something bigger coming that we need to actually, you know, grab for our lives. And so when I told them this, they freaked out. They loved the mark. And the next thing I saw myself doing was I was shipping these marks from Ghana to the US. And can you imagine that shipping from Ghana to the US, when from somebody from nowhere living in the ghetto, I tell my story, show this, and then came a turning point for me. They talk about books. They said this book, everybody sees. So if these people love books, and I came out with this book, no, he became book. I said to myself in 2023, in 5 years' time, and then I met, became reality, and I'm 9 times international best-selling author because I met somebody, I met the right person, right? So I always say that, you know, God has always placed people, help us ahead of us, and so all we need to do is to just meet them, and that is it. We just need to meet them, like how I met Annie. If I said depression, because of depression, I'm going to sit idle and get stuck and stop moving, I wouldn't have moved to LinkedIn to post for somebody to see and introduce me to a group to come and meet Annie. And all these beautiful things are happening right now, all because I kept on moving. Even in the toughest times and in pain and struggles, I kept on moving. All right, so fast forward through all these things, I've been able to win the Caribbean Global Awards in the UK. And for the first time, I flew to the UK in 2023, something I never thought it would really happen, because from my background, you know, I never thought I would even be able to sit on a flight, but it happened. And I've been in the UK twice and some other places. So I decided to, okay, no, why don't I use my story to empower people, empower the youth, because people are going through what the things I've been through. Some even go through worse and they end up committing suicide, you know. And that is the reason why I formed this NGO, No Human is Useless. And I go to schools. I just move to places, all from my pocket, right? along the line, I lost my job, my highest paying job in the US, and I came back in the state of depression again. And that's the period that I met Annie, you know. And when I met Annie, I wasn't complaining about not having a job. I was just telling my story and then my book, and then magic worked. All right. So I was in a state of depression again, which is why I'm saying that depression is here to stay with us. There's no solution. It's never going anywhere, but it comes to different forms. You have to have a prepared mindset to face it and have some sort of awareness to know that, okay, so this will get me depressed. Let me just pull myself away for it to come and pass. All right. So it's been a tough journey for me, but what I'm doing right now comes from within, and I always love to do things from within. That is really powerful. When it's coming from within, you go all out, not thinking about getting paid or not getting anything out of it. It brings me joy. All right. So far I've been able to go to schools, spoke to thousands of students, and they are really going through a lot. People are really going through a lot. And quite recently, I posted a video of me talking about my story and adding pictures. And I have pictures to everything that I'm saying. I shared this post on TikTok. Okay, and currently I have about 100,000, over 100,001 views and counting. And I've had about 500 people sliding into my DMs telling me they want to come to this event because they are going through a lot and they feel their life are coming to an end. All right. And quite recent, there are high suicide cases in Ghana, some relationship, so many stuff, celebrities, you know, behind the stage. On the stage, we feel they are okay, but behind the stage, they are going through a lot. One recently died in Ghana, and about a week ago, one died, and it was out of depression. All right, so this is what I stand in for, and this is the main reason why I am trying to have this conference. I'm actually having this conference in September, 21st September in Ghana, where we bring the youth together, people who are going through stuff to come and listen to real life stories. This is going to be real life stories. Like, we are not going to read books and all of that. It's about things that people have really gone through, that they've been able to overcome it, and how they are using it to inspire others. That are going through these things. Some people have been through it, and they are not doing well. Some are also into it, and they are still trying their best. All right, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I have Scott Stewart, who also have a beautiful and amazing story of struggles, and I'm going to have him all the way from UK in Ghana to share a stage with me. And so I just want to say that, depression is real, and let's join hands. I can't do this alone. Let's join hands together, and then speak to people. Like, just help this movement go across the world, go across global, and then get this event, make it successful. At least as little as $10, you can get to invite one person to come and listen to stories of hope. And who knows, that $10 can save a life. So thank you so much, Annie. And I think I will have to give the mic back to you.
Well said, William. It's a wonderful story, and it is a story of overcoming, right? And like I love when you say now we just have to keep moving forward, and that's a message for our kids. And I know human is useless. Number one, you have a purpose. You're here for a reason, and your success awaits you. Just get past these moments. I'm totally with you. Michelle says, "I'm so proud of you, William. Let's join hands together and support." Well said, Michelle. Michelle, of course you can. It's not just through Zoom. I'm sure there'll be a platform where, I don't know which platform it is, where you will be transported into the room, into the conference remotely. So whether that's to watch or to speak and share your story with our young people, so it's definitely possible. Let's talk, Michelle. Let's talk. Yes, empowering our youth for sure. So you mentioned Scott. Scott says, happy to support the cause for such an important message. I'm with you, Scott, totally. I'm working on my book, and I'll be in contact soon. Yes, Scott, I can't wait. I can't wait. And William, thank you for the introduction. You see, I think it's great to have amazing friends as you have, William. Michelle says a judge believed in me too. It's so true. You never know who's going to be that person for you, right? We'll never know who that person is. That's going to give us that listening ear and give us the hope that we're looking for. It could be anyone. No, it could be you for any of the kids we're talking about in Ghana. It really could be. That's why I'm supporting William. That's why I'm going along to share my stories. And I think some people don't really know our stories, William. Many people think they know our stories, but tonight I will share my truths because I feel to. I think that's what's going to be helpful, for people to know that we can hit what we think is rock bottom, and more often than not, we're nowhere near rock bottom. What we think we are. And then next thing happens, and again you think I'm done, it's over, but it's not. We have to keep. We just have to keep going and find hope somehow, right? Welcome, Selena. I do see you. I'm so glad you're here. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm all right. I
Awesome.
was just at a funeral. I think I
Oh,
sent
nice.
you. My son is trying to get on. His name is Tari.
Sorry, my phone's going in behind me. Yeah, I can't help that, right? So your son's trying to join in, or is he?
Yeah, he's trying to join in. I don't know. Maybe network. He's in South Africa. So I spoke to William today earlier on.
Good on you. So I love people connecting. So it gives me joy to know that you've spoken. So
Yeah, I mean, when you see something valuable, you need to share it. So we need to do that. Where is William now? He's disappeared. What's happening?
we can't see you anymore, but we can still hear you.
Uh,
It's rather weird. Your picture disappeared.
I'm here.
Yeah, that's why we can hear you. So carry on sharing with us. Carry on sharing. I suppose this issue of depression and why people don't talk about it.
No,
Do
I
you
just
have
saying
a
it's
thought?
like it's the network in Africa. Sometimes it's just a pain in the yeah. So
That's Africa. I had two power cuts today during the show already.
um,
So that's here, right? I'm saying these things happen, but this here is quick, and the internet stabilizes after a while.
oh, my son says he can hear everything. He's there, but I don't
Excellent.
know. We can see. Yeah.
Well, then, if he makes a comment, then we'll see him. Then we'll see him in the comments.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I love to welcome him properly. Well, so just say something, say hi, say where you join us from.
Yeah.
Say
Tabi
anything
said
else you want to say.
something.
And then we'll see you show up in our comments, and then we'll welcome you properly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you two met. Are you coming? Are you coming to Ghana, or are you? I don't know. What
No, because I was saying to William that time it's like I might be going to Zim in October, November, so
mm,
it will be too close for me to
mm.
go. But I will join online.
Okay, John remotely, superb, excellent, excellent.
Mm.
They
I
said
mean,
I
I
love
heard his wonderful story. It made me shed a few tears, but he's a strong lad.
mm,
He's very, very strong.
yeah,
So he deserves the position of encouraging
mm,
other young people.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
William is a year older than my son, younger than my son.
But these are all young kids these days, all right? Now compared to you and me, compared to me anyway, they're young. I know you're young too, Selena. So You know, I'm the old man in the house. It's all right. I can take it. You know, it's fine. You know, I don't know if I've ever asked William how old he is. I have no clue how old he is really. You know,
Now it's like me as a mother always ask those questions. You know that I always ask those questions.
yeah, he is doing, he's doing amazing to use his pain for other people's gain.
Exactly.
You know, and
Exactly.
that's a remarkable thing. You know,
I met somebody on LinkedIn. We just had a meeting just now, and she's a like a sole, business strategist. And so I had a lovely chat with her. So we agreed to comment on each other's posts.
mm,
And because he's a strategist, he works with the, like people, you know, profiles and things like that. So I
mm,
said, okay, if you find anything wrong with my profile, just let me know and how I can improve. I can improve it.
mm. Yeah, there's always more to learn, right?
Yeah,
So your LinkedIn profile is an important thing that people will see. You know,
yeah. But
it's
sometimes you think you know.
no, for
Don't-
sure.
The before and the after Williams, photos, they're amazing.
Mm,
You look at the before and then you look at the now. It's just like, wow, that's quite unbelievable.
yeah, it's hard to understand that you can go from extremes to extreme. You can go from where William was to where he is now.
No, I
I
mean,
think
I can't believe it because I was on a deathbed and now I'm alive. So
mm,
it's quite believable. Because
true.
when people come to you and say, okay, well, afterwards we thought you were just going to be a number, then you find that no, okay, no, I'm not just a number. So what am I? You know. So
You're a
it's
superstar, Selena. You're a superstar. That's what
Yeah.
you are. Selena's cancer's survival story is no book. What's the book called?
my pain, my teacher.
Mm.
Mm.
I've read the book, by the way. That
I love it.
was that was my Christmas reading.
Oh,
So
really?
Mhm.
yeah, I enjoy. I guess I enjoyed finding out about your journey, your thoughts, your fears, and again that moment of transformation when you started recovering and finding yourself again.
Mm.
And then of course sharing that story, sharing your stories with the world for us to learn from. You know,
Yeah, I still have got some people who are saying, it's like you need to go back and tell your story.
mm,
And, it's like that's where the break even is,
mm,
telling your story.
mm, mm,
But yeah, it will come.
Well, I think that you're doing it bit by bit. You're
Yeah.
here. That's always a good place. I'm sure if we can transport you to Ghana remotely, I'm sure like you say, you'd be there anyway, remotely.
I'll
So
be there. I'll be there as long as William will have, better connection.
yeah, I tell you, it's we pray, Selena, we pray, we pray. So I
What
got a
what
friend,
what else can you use William besides, like what do you use
Beside what?
William when your
besides the
network is
connection.
giving when your
Yes, I'm
network
listening.
is when your network is playing up, what do you do?
Oh, I just have to restart, but I need to get a small Wi-Fi.
Mm,
So I don't now. I connect with my phone. So I think that's the problem. When I have a Wi-Fi, it works independently. So there's no distractions and all that. So I just need to get a Wi-Fi. But data is very expensive in Ghana. It's so
I
expensive.
know, I
So
know.
sometimes very expensive. It's too bad. So that's the
is it?
challenge. So I need to
Isn't
get.
your Wi-Fi? Is your Wi-Fi unlimited, or is it that you still have to buy the in data as well?
Oh, it's a spice. It's not unlimited. When it finishes, a spice. Like
Mm.
you They can give you 30 days, but they can get used that before 30 days. So there's
I
no
know,
expiration.
I
It
know, I
expires.
saw that because you go on YouTube, you watch these videos, you do Facebook, you do, and it's being eaten like nobody's business.
So as I said, I'm going to London tonight, and I'm going to have to buy internet. Obviously, I'm going to have to buy a dongle. It's a data. So I'm sure I'm looking at least 100 gigs, 100.
You're going to London. What are you going to do?
No, I'm going to London, and I've got some work to do. I have friends to see, theatre show to go to on Sunday in at the Apollo Theatre. So
you're going there until next week.
Yes, and on the way back, I'm going to see Paulette. I'm going to see Zara. I'm going to see my sister. I tell you, it's busy, and I might meet Coach David in London tomorrow. That's the idea. So I got friends to see. It's a big round trip for poor Annie. Don't feel bad for me. I get to do these things for fun. Michelle will beam you over for sure. Look, let's talk. My friends, don't forget to support William's GoFundMe. It does end in 3 days. Please, anything you can donate will help. As William said, I guess look at your donation as buying tickets for young people to join the event. The tickets are $10 a ticket, so that's what you donate, and that's going to help a child to get in who wouldn't have gotten otherwise. If you know anyone who can support William on the money side, I'm talking about sponsors. If you know companies in Africa, companies anywhere really, people who truly want to support children in Africa, especially. I'm one to say our local businesses should be putting their hand in their pockets and supporting their community. It's a good deed by them, and what do we call it? It's corporate social responsibility. Our kids, it's everyone's business, and businesses should be they can do more. And on this one, it's not just give us money and that's it. It's more a case of support the cause and we'll thank you publicly. I want people to see the good that you're doing. Whether that's through social media posts, whether that's through the billboards that Williams commissioned to promote our sponsors and our supporters and the event, of course, or through the Ghana TV channels. That are also going to run the conference and give us advert spaces to thank our sponsors. So it's a win for everyone.
Yeah.
So do help where you can. Cherry, I love your comments. You say thanks from my heart.
Cherry too. I love it. Cherry, with you. Love you, sis. Wishing you the best.
The small world LinkedIn becomes. I love that. I love when LinkedIn becomes a small world because it's through connections that will move things forward.
Yeah.
We don't talk to each other, then we don't really know each other. So I'm so glad that Selena, you are that person. William, you're that person too. And as Cherry says, thanks from my heart for leading the children to hope. That our stories support saving lives. I cope with lifelong depression with self-care, fresh air, in great outdoors, nourishment, hydration, and talk therapy with trusted friends. Thanks for sharing, Sherry. Thanks for being so open. It is, it's not an uncommon experience, depression. It does affect people, but we can be some of the people who make that difference. I'm trying to work out who LinkedIn user is. That's just joined us. Can I see?
That's my son. That's my son, Terry.
That's your son. Okay. Now, please put your name next to it so I can welcome you properly.
That's what you remember. You remember William? I was telling you, my son.
Okay, Tariro, his name is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll connect with him.
Okay. Now you said I'm Tari from South Africa. Welcome, sir. Great to have you here. It gives me true joy.
So he wants to talk to connect to you, William.
Make it happen, William.
I would.
I told you about. I told him about you.
No, make it happen again and have a conversation with him. That's why I say. Let me show you a glimpse into the conference that William
Yeah.
has planned. It's only a few seconds in, just to give you an idea. The venue might change to be an even bigger venue. So here goes. It's only a few. Give me a couple of seconds.
No human is useless, I know. Through the darkness we still glow, rising up from what we've been, finding strength in where we've been. Hands got rough from earth so cold, learn to mend what's.
Yes, I'm sure that there'll be more videos to come, right, William? I think we need to we need to involve the speakers, whether they're coming in person or remotely, to promote the event. Because the wider, when the more people who know about the event, the better it will be for everyone. That way, awareness, visibility, hopefully help you get more support and more impact. So we'll get to that, and so I'm sure that'll be our next series of events, right? Bring people like Scott to the world for them to share what your event means to them. I shan't die. I just have to have a drink. William, say something.
Yeah, thank you, Rennie, for this opportunity. I just want to say that still on depression. Don't let it make you commit suicide, because it's always a wake up dawn for you to accept bigger things into your life. And it's just a phase. It doesn't last forever, but it's always going to come. So my real what I'm really passionate about is the young men who are causing suicide, who are taking their lives because of situations that they go through they don't like. So just use me as an example. Just watch the pictures behind me, from the first to winning awards in the UK. And I am not a superhuman being. I'm just a human being like you. So you can also be and even do it better than mine. So I just want to encourage you to just keep calm when you go through stuff. Just keep calm. Don't fight chaos with chaos. Otherwise it's going to blow out. You need to be calm and use calmness to overcome depression. And I want to urge you all, September 21st, 2025, No Human is Useless annual conference is happening. And if you'll be able to come to Ghana, you're invited. Or it's actually a hybrid event, so it's going to be online too for people to stream and watch it. And it's going to be a safe space where people will share the struggles, their pain, for people to get encouraged, right? And I think that is it, Annie. Thank you. And I'm urging everybody to just support the crowdfunding. We have just 3 days. As little as $10 can go a long way to help somebody come out of depression.
And every person counts, right? Every person counts, William. Thank you for sharing, Selena. Anything you want to leave us with?
Every little helps. So yes, I'll try to look for my 2 cents as well. But I'm just urging that every little helps. And thank you for doing what you are doing. It's very encouraging because we are losing a lot of like young people to drugs, to drinks, to just sometimes thinking that they are useless. They can't they can't do anything.
It's not true, right? No human is useless.
No human is useless.
Well done, William. Well done, William. No, we all have a purpose. Let's live that purpose, and let's support our kids to live their purpose too. Yeah, Michelle says, "I will be there, William Hybrid." Of course, Selena. Cherry says, "Selena, I love you more." Excellent.
Love you, sweet.
We're a great community on LinkedIn. That's the beauty of what we do, right? Look, my friends, I'm gonna go and do my penance. Oh, Christiana just come back in.
All right.
So you take care, Selena. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for connecting with William as well. Thank you for your kindness. We'll talk soon. We'll talk soon.
Talk
Take care.
soon. Bye. Bye, William.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, Sherry. Bye, Chari.
That's cool. That's cool. Christiana, just in time. We're about to go.
Okay, I'm back on. I think the
What's your
LinkedIn
final? Go.
gremlins have allowed me some time.
They got you. They're captured in the weeds, in the bushes, where you're free
Yes,
again.
I am free.
I suppose like we're about to go. I suppose like, what do you want to leave us with today? You know, especially concerning our topic and concerning children in Africa.
My first thing is thank you, William, for all your work and all that you do. And please, please, please support the cause. Um, my final word is, you know me, Annie. I'm all about educating. It's not just educating, it is how we educate, right? Because there are many forms and many ways of educating, and not every type of education will suit the issue, the problem, the challenge, or the barrier.
Yeah.
It's reaching out to our communities, it's reaching out to those that can help. And I like what I think was it a professor that put down, it takes a village, right? It truly takes a village. If one person or one door doesn't open, look for the next door. And as William has done, he kept looking for doors after doors after doors. So don't suffer in silence because you think that it is only you that's going through this challenge. Reach out. Reach out. The one thing I want to see is the normalization of conversations that are hard to have. Because when conversations are seemingly difficult to have, we tend to want to hide away because we're not sure. And it's not the people that are going through that challenge, but those around them who are not sure of how to support them, not sure what to say, don't want to be found in an awkward situation, awkward position, don't want to be nosy, don't want to be everything that actually we don't think about. That's not the case. We tend to overthink things and think ourselves out of helping. You know, I heard you mention about meeting somebody and just greeting a person because you just don't know. I'm going to give you a true story. There was a guy that used to walk past my house regularly. I want to say regularly, every single day. And for 2 week period of 2 weeks, I would greet him, whether it was morning, afternoon, or evening. The first time I greeted him, he walked past. He looked at me and walked past, and I continued to greet him every day for 2 weeks. And you know, in the second week, I'm not sure whether it was I don't know, a few days before the second week, but it was within that second week period. He gave me a smile, like a nod, like he'd eventually heard me or seen me. And then the next day, it was a response, very quiet, very low response. And the third time, it was a clear enough response that I could hear, I could see, and his head had been lifted. Imagine when I first started saying hello to him, his head was down on the ground. To cut a very long story short, one day I was coming home, one evening I was returning home from wherever I'd been to, and I was reversing onto my drive, and I got out my car and I saw this image just waiting. It was in the evening, it was dark, it was kind of like winter evening, so it was a little bit dark. And he was standing, I stood an image standing to the right side of me, of my drive. And when I got out, it was the same guy who had seen me, who had stopped to say hello, stopped to greet me. And what he told me didn't just blow my mind away, it reaffirmed the importance of taking notice of those around us. Because he said to me, the first time that you said hello to me, I couldn't imagine not living without a smile like that or seeing a smile like that. And he said that day he had been contemplating taking his own life. He had got all the pills, was on his bed, and when I saw him and greeted him, he was walking to the corner shop to buy some cider. And true enough, he had ciders in his hand when he walked past my house again on his return. He bought two 2-liter ciders because he was just going to end his life. There were so many traumas that he had experienced in life, including abuse. And in his mind, he could see no way out. But the fact that somebody noticed him, then to greet him, he wasn't at the place of responding. His head wasn't in that space. But he said what surprised him was I continued to greet him, even though he did not respond to me. He said other people just looked past him or wouldn't even acknowledge or even notice he was there. And so he stopped to come and say thank you for me making the time to say hello to him. So I say all of this to say that when we hear depression and when it comes to a point of it really being visible, the person going through that is at their worst state. It begins with kindness. It begins with one word. It begins with a smile. It begins with some gesture. So wherever you are, whichever space you occupy, take the time to notice. Take the time to be aware. And if it's you indeed that's going through that, find a space that you will occupy that others will care for you, or a space that you can at least voice or be vocal as to where you are and what you're going through. I'll end my mic there. But thank you so much, William. Fantastic work. Thank you so much, Annie.
Thank you, Christiana. I say that for sure. Thank you for sharing so openly with us as well. Jerry said, Christiana, we are building bridges of belonging. That's so true, right? And Michelle says, you gave hope and true love. Selflessly, I might add, Michelle, and for free. So a word, a smile, even and as you're proving, Christiana, a greeting, acknowledgement that someone is there, someone is someone, right? All of that costs us nothing, and so just being nice people truly doesn't cost a thing. We have to be those. Let's be more Christian like that. Go on, Christian.
Annie, let me say this as well. I think it's that when I say we need to find the time, I didn't want to go into a long journey of me and this guy. It happened to actually become friends as a result, and he's my neighbor. Like, he lives on the next street from me. Let's put it this way. I took the time to help him out, from helping him to find work, to sustain a job for 2.5 years until he hurt his knee. It's not just minor people. It's when you have that connection, look further to what else they might need. If you can't help them, look at the resources that you have that you can use to help them. I know for me on LinkedIn, I've had people who have DM'd me and say, I'm based in X, Y, and Z country. I have no work. I have X, Y, and Z. Can you help me? And I'm searching for people who I can connect them with to say, can you help? How can you help? That one act can literally save a life. It takes that patience and that compassion to be able to say, what else can I do? How else can I help you? What are you in need of? And give that person that reassurance. Imagine what he said to me when I saw the smile and you said hello to me. I said I couldn't leave the world knowing that people like that are still remember, people like you can still smile. That was a big thing for me. It really was. Generally, I greet people. Sometimes I get ignored. I get ignored.
Most of the time, I imagine, in England,
Yes,
we're not used to people speaking with us.
I still have to come and smile and say, "Hey, I'm saying hello to you." It happens in shopping. My husband is always like, "Where do you get the patience from?" Where do you get the patience from? Because we're walking and I greet people, and sometimes they ignore you. It's not because they're ignoring you. Some people have got so much on their minds. We're so occupied in our own thoughts, in our own emotions, in our own problems, burdens, everything else in between, right?
Yeah.
That you cannot take it personally because the person doesn't smile to you. I make the point of having to say, "Hey, I'm greeting you." Unless you tell me to get lost, I'll be greeting you until you tell me to get lost. Until you tell me to get lost.
Be greeting you.
I do.
No, look, I think it's the point is that we can save a life just by giving that moment to acknowledge someone, and then if we and then showing kindness. And if we can help, then let's do let's do something to help. And I'm not saying sell your house and invite them to come and stay with you. I'm saying, but literally, sometimes it rarely takes that level of doing to make a difference to someone's life.
Love.
And you prove that exactly. Like I say kindness, love for sure. I'll take that for that, because that's love being peace in your heart that you share with others, right? Caring about other people. It's not, that's what love comes down to, really. Yeah, but Christiana, now I know why you came back. There is a God, there is a greater power than us.
There is.
We have to hear your story, and those who are watching on replay, hopefully, you get to the end to listen to Christiana's very important message. Michelle, indeed, look, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And we've all got that to give, right? Of course, I would appreciate, if anyone here can contribute to Williams crowdfunding, please do. I put a link in the comments. So, if you want the link, you can DM me. I'll do my best to send the link today. Otherwise, I might send the next couple of days, because I'm going to be on the road. Christiana, do you fancy coming to Kettering?
When?
Kettering.
What just day?
Monday.
Next week, Monday. What's happening in Kettering?
I'm coming. I'm going to Paulette from London, and then going to Kettering to see Zara, and then going to my sisters in Milton Keynes. I don't want to say I'm coming to Birmingham, because I probably won't get anywhere before midnight, right? So
no.
Christian.
Oh, you're going to go see Zara. I'm supposed to be speaking to Zara next week Wednesday. She cancelled on me today, but hey ho.
She's a busy lady. She's a busy young lady. So
okay,
everyone's young to me. Everyone's young. You too, Christiana.
We are all young,
Yes. So some of us are as young as the others.
We're all young. Even you too, Eddie.
That's the word. Old young. That's the word. There must be a middle word in there, right? But I don't know. I might come up your way on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then I know I've got to do it all again on Monday.
Your nephew's got a social life that cannot be rearranged. He's not around.
He's got parties. He's got things to do.
Yes, he has 2 parties on Saturday.
That's all right. It's all right for some, isn't it? So
that's Tell me young. About it.
You and I have no parties. There's no parties for us old people. No one cares what we think, really. It's
Nobody
fine.
cares about us.
We've had our party days, Christiana. Let's leave those behind us.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
I'm speaking for myself and for you, Christiana. You know,
I
you don't
like
have
a
to
right.
ask anymore,
I
right?
like a good old clean knees up.
Yes, yes. Okay. And then, I'm sure you can get a picture of what Christiana's good old clean knees up means, right? It is as it sounds. You know, drinking
Yes.
water. Yeah. Knees.
No, drinking hot water and lemon or water and
Oh,
lemon
oh, you're pushing
with
the boat out now,
with
right? You're pushing the
with
boat
some
out.
apple cider vinegar. You know, some nice apples and cucumber water. Great stuff.
You mentioned cider. You mean real cider?
No, apple
Yeah,
cider vinegar,
I had a feeling you didn't
ACV,
mean real cider.
apple cider vinegar. It cleanses out your system. So there you go.
You and I were talking about how to cleanse out your system in good time. So I've learned. I got a herbal mix now that my genius herbalist friend, Dr. Yvonne, gave me.
Oh, nice.
It's been endorsed by Dr. Lisa as well. So
Okay, awesome.
yeah, I'll tell you all about it. It involves cloves, garlic, cinnamon,
Cinnamon.
and what was the other? Turmeric as well.
Yep.
Yeah, a lucky
There are
mix.
so many.
And
There's so many mixes that
ginger.
you've got ginger, garlic. For
No, there's no
green one,
garlic.
you've got a green one is
Yeah.
garlic and cucumber. There's so
Uh,
many. There's so many, but
yeah, there is
the
so
base
many.
is turmeric. Are you using fresh turmeric or powdered?
Fresh. I never knew what fresh turmeric was until now.
Oh,
So I had
really?
to go and buy a big load, a big tub full. So I got now this my
Nice.
mixture. There's lemon in there as well, by the way. It all gets
Awesome.
boiled into a tea.
The other one is ginger and green apples.
Yeah, that sounds good.
There's so many. Any, I could be here all day, but never
Okay,
mind.
I will learn. Michelle said, Michelle, you and Paulette. Are going to be calling me. So when I get to Paulette on Monday, we certainly will call you, Michelle. And
Yes.
Dr. Anna, welcome, welcome, welcome. So I opened the
Hi,
book.
Dr. Roxana. It's been a while. I've not seen her for ages.
She was here
I
yesterday.
miss you.
You that wasn't here. Dr. Roxana, have you donated to William's cause, the Williams crowdfunding? I'll send you the link in case you can, in case you want to.
She's a money person as well.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, though. And I do appreciate you. Michelle says ginger is amazing. Yeah,
It is.
smell. I like the smell. So,
I
Christiana,
have ginger, garlic, and a drop of honey, raw. A teaspoon keeps the cold away
yes, I hope so.
throughout the summer.
Rosanna says, so glad to watch. Please watch the replay. Right, Christiana, there's something funny going on LinkedIn with our replays. Dr. Roxana,
Oh, why?
applies to you too. Since yesterday, I've realized that LinkedIn is only showing the last half hour of our lives.
Oh my goodness, that's so true. Why are they doing that?
No idea. And the typical LinkedIn where they won't tell us what the hell they're up to and why they're doing it. So you just realize that they've made a change, right?
Yes.
Look, it
They don't have
sounds,
enough server room anymore. Are they running out of space?
yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. They're realizing that the space it takes up, the storage space,
Yes,
is huge, right? I'll send you the link to our stuff for sure.
Who is having the time to edit that and cut off the first half an hour or first hour? That's ridiculous.
I don't know. I don't know whether there is. You know, you can edit your lives on LinkedIn, right? At the end.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's a case of choosing which half an hour LinkedIn will show when people click on your replays.
LinkedIn, that's just ridiculous.
At the moment, it seems like I think it's done automatically. You know they have tools, Christiana. Come on now.
Of course.
But, the tool just says, last half an hour is also what they're going to get, right? So, but watch out for that. I said, it sounds bad, but I think deep down, I'm taking it as a reason to use my YouTube version as what you show on replays, right?
Mm-hmm.
So someone messages you and says, "Sorry, couldn't make it." you know, it's all right now. I have to watch on team replay. Then I can now legitimately say, look, here's my YouTube link for the event, so you can watch the whole video, the whole
Yes,
event, and rather than just the half an hour that you're going to get on LinkedIn, right?
I
Yeah,
agree.
but this is life.
Oh goodness me. Okay.
Optimize your YouTube, and work your YouTube harder than your LinkedIn. Basically, you know,
Yes.
LinkedIn is good for engaging our friends, right, in the audience, whereas YouTube
Yes,
is good for replays. That's the one. That's just the way I look at it, right?
it is. Actually, I'm gonna say hello to. I think some people have already left. So, hello to Scott. Professor Rotimi is already gone. If they're still here. Hello to Joshua. Hi, Professor Abraham. Hi, Cherry. Hi, Tariro. Hi, Jay. Oh my goodness, Jay Pasquale. I've not seen him forever in a day.
It's not us,
Hi,
Cristiano. Cristiano, we're always here. We are here. I
hi,
saw Jay 2 days ago.
Christy. Hi,
I saw Jay.
Henry.
We've seen Jay today. It's you that's not here, Cristiano.
Hi,
It's you
Liana.
that's not here.
And Dr. Rosanna. Hi,
She's
Sharon Rose.
ignoring me deliberately.
I sent you a message, Sharon Rose. I've not heard from you. I did DM her just to check in. Hi, Linda. So good to see you. Lisa Fevek, my favorite menopause expert. You know.
Yeah, no.
And hi,
Lisa,
Michael.
that's everyone's favorite person.
Yes.
Not just menopause genius.
Oh, look, Annie is also here. Oh, what a shame.
That's love. I tell you, my friends, that's love. Ignore her. Like, laugh at her. Yeah. Yes, Christiana. Look, Una, thank you for doing the necessary, Christiana. Thank you for acknowledging everyone. Dr. Henry was here as well.
Oh,
You know,
great. And
yeah.
hi, Michelle. Of
Yeah.
course, not to
We can't
miss
ignore Michelle, of course, and Cherry as well. You know,
the
thank you so
wonderful
much.
Michelle.
Thank you for spending your time with us. And I say,
Yes.
I work with William about when our next event will be.
Mhm.
It might be bringing the speakers to live events, because I think
Yes.
we have a duty to promote the event, to
Mhm.
try and get as much support as we can for William long before live. Luckily, we're in May. Event in September, so we have many months to do a lot of work to publicize.
We do indeed.
Oh no! But I'll let you go, Christiana. Thank you so much for coming back. You made my day, and we actually made everyone's day. We did know your stories as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm gonna buzz you.
Okay. Well, no, you called me during the meeting, during the event, so might as well do it after the event, right?
No, I'm gonna buzz you now. After the
Yeah,
event.
I know. So that's after the
Yes.
event. Let me
Well,
end the show so I can go home. Michelle Ramos, I hope hopefully you're doing fine. Hope you're doing better.
okay.
Joni as well. Hopefully the day is going well for you. Thank you for
Hi,
joining us.
Joni.
Yes. So bye everyone. Bye everyone. Bye everyone.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.